What's up, y'all? We're the Peachtree Devs. I'm Mehul.
I'm Rick. It's good to see you again.
Back again for the third time now.
Third time. Second episode in 3 days.
This is the hardest we've ever worked.
Yeah, it's really the hardest we've ever worked on the podcast. We got another one. Yeah, it's been a pretty funny one too.
Putting out this work, making up for lost time.
Yeah. I look back. I think the last time we really put out an episode was like July, prior to the one that came out prior to this one. I don't know how the viewers gonna listen to this one. Could be listening back to back. I don't know what our delivery schedule is right now, but we'll figure that shit out later. Yeah. So we got a couple topics today we want to discuss. One thing came to mind, like a clever idea, was like talking about code switching. I'm not talking code either.
I knew you was gonna say that shit.
Yeah, man. But this is funny because like there are times where I had a conversation with my mom, and my mom was telling me that she talked to like one of her coworkers who happens to be white, Caucasian, and she was like stating to her what code switching was, and she thought my mom always talked properly. My mom was a Southern girl from Macon, Georgia, so you can only imagine how she really sounds.
Georgia will be.
Yeah, exactly. So it gave me an idea of like code switching, and I realized like I do this every day. I don't know. You do the same?
Oh yeah, like even to add another layer of code switching in like a professional and an informal setting, like even when I'm talking to my parents because they're like immigrants, I didn't realize it, but like I'll slow down, like even because I normally talk English to them, but I'll speak a little bit in a different accent almost because I grew up in the South. I have like my Southern slang and stuff. I don't really speak slang to them, but it won't be formal either. It'll just be like what I like to call it, like my TV family voice. Where it's like nobody on any of those TV shows, like whether it be like Family Matters or
Wait, are you doing your TV voice now?
Yeah, right now.
Okay.
The listeners, they're not from the South. They might not know.
Yeah. Can you drop a little slang, or how does Mehul really talk? I don't know.
I mean, how
this might be the first time for me hearing this guy really talk.
Who am I? I'm the man of international mystery, right?
So yeah, same for me. Is like, especially growing up in Atlanta. Opposite of you, I grew up with slang. So I grew up predominantly Black area, so everybody was like, "Bruh, what's up, bruh?" Like basically, I can like, "Hell, you talking about, man?" and something like that. So it's kind of funny because it's like I'll go to work, and it's funny because we're gonna talk about diversity and inclusion next, but we go to work as like there's scenarios where I'm the only Black guy and I'm surrounded by like nothing but white developers, and they're all guys, and they're like, "Hey man, yeah, how's it going, man? Oh, I went to my parents' lake house last week or something like that." And there are times where like, because growing up, I was always taught like you gotta speak proper when you're around white people, but that was how I was conditioned. And turns out that was code switching the whole time. So there are times like where I've had lunch with directors from like Fortune 50 companies, and then that night I'll go to like a shady spot where my homeboy's at and just talk with all of them like, "Yo, what's up, bro? Like, how's everything going, man? You straight?" Versus like, "Oh, those numbers did look good last week on our last sprint. Yeah, we did a good job." So yeah, code switching, man.
Yeah, I mean, like when I was doing my consultancy, we landed the client carandriver.com, and it was me and like my friends, and when we were talking to this client, I was code switching, but the other guys weren't code switching. They were just talking the normal slang. And so our initial meeting, our point of contact was with the CTO of carandriver.com. And he was just like, "I can't believe you young kids are so good at this." And so the other guys didn't like really realize kind of what that implied. But I was like, "Yeah, man, I mean, this shit ain't nothing, we're just doing what we're doing."
Yeah.
And then he goes, "Cool, like awesome, whatever." We sent all the paperwork, and I remember one night he took us out for like dinner and drinks and stuff. And then so a couple of the guys got a few couple of drinks, and they started spitting their slang and stuff.
Yeah.
And so like this guy's like this proper guy. He's even before Car and Driver, like he's worked at companies like NASA and stuff like that, right? So we're like on completely different wavelengths. He was just like, wow, he was so fascinated by it. He was like, how can you juggle two different languages constantly at the same time? And it's like, dude, it's just English. Yeah. But it's slang, right? Like,
I mean, English is already a broken language altogether.
It's the most broken language there is. Being born in Toronto and raised in the South, like they're completely different languages. So when I first moved down here, I was like, bro, like everybody sounds like Boomhauer from King of the Hill.
I mean, it's like New York too as well. New York has different languages. Like I never forget when Ashley was like, "Yeah, it's a brick outside," and I was like,
"It's brick outside."
I was like,
"You dead ass?"
I was like, "You talking about drugs? Like there's a brick outside right now?" She was like, no, that's what we talk
cold as hell.
I'm like, it's cold as hell.
Yeah.
But I'll never forget like being with a coworker after hours, like we're just getting a couple drinks and I used the word 12. And I was like, oh shit, 12 over there. He didn't know what the hell I was talking about. And I was like, oh shit, forgot who I'm with. Yeah, the police are over there, man. Hey, yeah. So I code switch on a daily basis. I'm at the point now where it's second nature now.
I've stopped doing it as often.
Mm-hmm.
I let my slang come out more now that like I guess companies are trying to be more inclusive in general. I kind of want to push the boundaries of that. Be like, all right, cool. If you guys are really about this life,
so you're like,
let's see. So like I'll give presentations and I'll sprinkle a little bit of flavor on some stuff I'm saying. You know,
like, oh, once you guys are plugged in the back end, we'll be good to go.
Like, for example, something that I started saying, and I noticed a lot of my coworkers started saying, like, the word, just like, all right, bet. Like, that's nothing for us, but like, I work also remotely, and we have engineers from all over America, all over the world, so like, the slang is different everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
But this guy I work with, he's from the Midwest. Like, he lives, like, on a ranch, so like, he didn't understand this slang, but like, now every day he's always like, yo, I bet we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that. And I'm like, this is the best, dude. Just seeing the slang kind of perpetuate, I guess, in different areas. Because I know like us being from Atlanta, no cap is just normal language for us.
Yeah.
Hearing dudes from New York say that is wild to me. Like
techies
in New York
that's
say
a cap. Like, what? But definitely get it, man. But yeah. Code switching, man. It is what it is. I mean, it's funny. It's still funny to me that white people really don't understand. Like, I guess it goes to like, understanding different cultures too as well. Because I'm still learning about your culture at the same time. You had a conversation with your wife and nephew
on the car ride here. Yeah,
on the car ride here. So that was pretty cool. So I'm ignorant as well when it comes to other cultures, but like not understanding like, okay, this person actually has to. He feel like he has to switch things up when he's around a certain demographic, and he can go home and do whatever he can, like speak his true self. I feel like you said, we shouldn't be code switching. We should let that shit come out.
Let it fly.
Yeah, I got a meeting at 3:00. I don't know. I might say some wild shit.
Just sprinkle some shit in there just to see how they react.
Yeah. So yeah, I think you're right. I think we need to stop code switching in life.
I mean, like, there's definitely situations where it makes sense. Like if the slang we use on a regular basis just is people don't understand it. But don't like completely put on that voice. Like I always think of Chappelle's show where he does the white newscaster voice or whatever. Like don't go to that extreme, right? But
yeah, not that extreme. Okay, but yeah, and that leads to like the diversity and inclusion topic, which we'll join next. By the way, when our lovely guest Oscar in the back of the room
shout out to Oscar.
Shout out to Oscar.
Dude.
But yeah, I mean, like if companies are all about diversity and inclusion. Like, shouldn't they promote, like, you just, like, be yourself, be your natural self. You speak with slang, it is what it is. You slur your words, it is what it is. We'll try our best to understand you. So.
So like that's kind of what you were saying, like how they're all promoting kind of diversity and inclusion, but they're maybe not making the environment good for that.
So we'll get on that topic next. So I feel like we're going to bust down. Oh, by the way, sponsorship this episode is Arizona. The price is on the can. Kiwi's the best one. Hey, but it's up to you to decide. So
green tea's a solid classic. You can't go wrong with their green tea.
You can't go wrong with green tea, but it's not great.
It's not, yeah.
It's like the blue Gatorade.
It's like the vanilla ice cream effect. It's like, all right, you can't really complain, but you're not.
Oh, I've had some terrible vanilla ice cream. I've had terrible vanilla ice cream.
Word?
I don't know.
You don't put nobody on blast?
Over 30 years. I don't know. Over 30 years. It probably might have been old ice cream or shitty ice cream or something like that. But I recall a certain Publix where I got bad ice cream.
Dang, so you would never buy ice cream from that Publix ever again?
Oh, no, I bought ice cream after that.
But hey, Publix, if you want to throw us some ice cream money, we're good with that too.
Yeah, we'll promote your ice cream. Yeah, so let's take a break here and let's get ready for our guy, Oscar, in the back of the room with that Cuban swag going on. I see you.
Dang, sun's out, thighs out.
Are we still recording? Speaking of thighs, you got to stand up with those basketball shorts, bro.
They're Muay Thai shorts.
This man came from LA Fitness. He came straight to the episode.
Yeah, bro. Got the J's on. We ready.
You better shoot threes.
Fuck around and get dunked on.
And that's 3 and D.
3 and D player right here, man.
Yeah, we look like a dude that comes up and like he's like just shooting threes.
Oh all day in the corner. 2 man on them, don't care. Quarter specialist.
Got all the Hall of Fame fucking badges.
2K badges.
Got all the 2K badges.
Wow. I'm gonna call you Danny Green for the rest of this episode, man.
Hey. Damn, dude.
We welcome one of our favorite people of all time at Home Depot, who used to work there. Might be my favorite. My boy Oscar, man. Oscar, hey. Thanks for showing up, man. We normally have guests, but you know the whole COVID shit going on.
All good, man. Thanks for having me.
Hey, no problem.
Did I get an Arizona can as well?
Oh, the sponsorship only gave us 2, so we gotta get our numbers up before we get 4. Otherwise Brian would have had 1 too.
I like the what is it? The lemonade with sweet tea.
You're a sweet tea.
The Arnold Palmer one. Arnold Palmer.
That's
That's
good.
it. Yeah, we almost got sponsored by Calypso too as well. You okay?
Yeah, something just got my eye.
I was like, yo, you blinking fast.
Yeah.
Right? What's going on? What's going on?
It's the Amazon chip.
Yeah, we talked. Let's talk about diversity and inclusion. Our last topic about code switching and things of the sort. Come to find out, a lot of companies are actually moving to Atlanta because of diversity and inclusion, which Microsoft is the case.
Facebook as well.
Yeah. Google has trying to build another office out here too. So
Amazon's got a couple offices as well.
yeah. So I don't know. I think these companies feel like Atlanta's so diverse, so they're just like, hey, we can get our diversity and inclusion checked.
Yeah, and I mean, we've got good schools right here. Like Georgia Tech is very strong in technology too.
Yeah.
So you kind of get that direct pipeline of students to underpay.
Yeah, University of Georgia too.
It's true.
University of Georgia too, man.
Go Dogs. Shout out.
Yeah, alma mater over there.
Yeah.
All right.
Dang, I'm outnumbered here, man. Know about college degrees
Oh.
and shit.
Oh, I was like, I didn't go to UGA.
Those are overrated these days.
Oh, I was gonna say my alma mater got a national championship in the past 10 years in
Okay.
football. Just putting it out there. Yeah. All right. But yeah, all these companies talk about diversity and inclusion. I'm pretty sure you guys are doing that at ADP, right?
Yep.
So like you guys are like combing candidates who hey, that woman of color, she's awesome. Let's hire that girl. Or like, how does that process actually work?
So
Sorry, I put you on the spot.
no. It's really more about being authentic than anything. Because you can't try to recruit someone and tell them you're a diverse company and you want to be diverse if you're not being authentic. So you need to first and foremost, when you go out to these huge gatherings and whatnot, you need to be honest that you struggle with diversity or you don't have enough women in technology.
Yeah.
All these problems that a lot of companies do have, but they don't like not being authentic. They always look for that one Black person, Asian, Latino to put in the brochure to have that perfect picture.
Yeah.
But everyone knows it's not the case. At most Fortune 500 companies, that's just not the case.
Yeah.
So number one, that's just that. Be authentic and tell them that that's what you struggle with, and then actually make an effort to reach out to historically Black universities, communities of color, and actually go out and do things in their communities that actually enable them to have the technological resources to be able to actually have a job as a computer scientist or a technologist in general.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, honestly, I like what you said of like going to those communities and putting that in the community, because like growing up, I didn't have that at all. I didn't know anything about computer science. I didn't know you could. I thought honestly, computers were just installing software. That's basically what my mom made me do all day. And just like, oh yeah, you're good with computers. Now go fix that shit there.
Go install these drivers real quick.
Basically, so I didn't know. And like you said, man, if companies actually are out there and just like, hey, we're giving you a free program or we're teaching this into the school system, that would be a huge plus to benefit.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up in a predominantly minority high school, and then
In Gwinnett, right?
in Gwinnett, yeah, I went to Decula High School over there in Lawrenceville. It's predominantly Black Latino community, and then moved over 5-10 miles to a predominantly white high school area, Grayson. That's where I graduated from.
Yeah.
And that made a huge difference in both my athletics and me studying. So like when I moved over, they had this thing called Grayson Tech High School. So it's like a whole technical division of things you can do, engineering, programming. So my junior and senior year, I took programming classes, I took engineering classes,
Yeah.
things that I would not have had access to in my old high school. And that put me like years ahead of where, and that's really where my advantage started ahead of everyone else. That when I got to college, and we were like in computer 101, 1301 first programming class, people are like, what's a for loop? What's all this? And I'm already like, I'm reading on to the next chapters of the book, like skipping through. And those are things that make a really big difference.
And Gwinnett County Schools looking good.
Hey man, that's where I'm looking for a house,
They got that magnet school out there now too.
Yeah, so kind of to focus on your point of, ADP kind of in your experiences, they're being more authentic and kind of trying to solve this problem. Do you see that maybe not just with hiring, but like with promotions and like for career advancement, has diversity and inclusion kind of been also applied to kind of that whole career side of things?
Yeah. So, I mean, I like to, normally when you look at these large corporations, is look at the executive board. Look at how the executive board is formed, and it usually reciprocates what the rest of the company looks like. CEO of ADP, Carlos Rodriguez, a Cuban native. Shout out.
Hey, I didn't know that.
Yep. Debbie, she's our president of national accounts, Black woman. You don't see that many women in general in executive boards.
Especially in tech.
So it says a lot. But yeah, no, I still see our company and still nationwide. I see not enough women in tech, not enough people of color in tech. So there's a long way for us to go to solve these issues, but it's a lot more than just hiring.
Exactly.
It's a lot more systemic than that. But these huge corporations, I do think, have a responsibility to solve the issue.
Yeah, I mean, when I worked at ADP, our team was pretty diverse, and our manager was also a minority. So, like, I've had good experiences on that side of things being at ADP, at least here in the Alpharetta office.
And I think it's always important to call it out, too. Like, if you just see yourself surrounded by only one kind of people or one kind of demographic, you should call that out.
Oh, yeah.
Because that doesn't just affect you. It affects the work you do. It affects the ideas that go into the software. You can unconsciously create biased software. Especially now with people that are creating machine learning and AI models, you can easily create a racist or a biased software that could affect millions of people.
Yeah.
So you need to call these. It's important, like as technologists, to call these things out when you see teams that are formed that aren't diverse, because you need diverse ideas. You need different ideas.
Yeah.
Sometimes there may be right ideas, wrong ideas, but you still need that whole combination of mixed ideas.
You need the conversation to not just be.
You need the conversation because it'll open up things that you would never think about.
Especially right now with COVID and everything, I have little cousins all over the country, doing school remotely. And one of my cousins, her testing software, like when she takes exams, it'll actually record her computer screen to make sure she's not opening up other windows and stuff. That's cool. But it also has a web camera, and you're not supposed to have anybody else in the room walking around. You're not supposed to have any distractions or stuff, because the idea is, we're going to stop you from cheating, right? If there's somebody in the room, they could, give you the answers. But it doesn't kind of consider maybe people from disadvantaged backgrounds. Like, what if you share a room? What if you don't have all that space in your home? Then all of a sudden you just get penalized for cheating because you share a room with your siblings or something like that.
Yeah.
So like you mentioned, like if you just don't have that kind of diverse experiences with the people building the software, you might not account for different diverse users in general. And something that I'm sure you can relate to, because we've been out west. A big thing with hiring in tech is culture fit, right? And oftentimes culture fit can kind of exclude a lot of people based on just not getting along, not sharing maybe similar values and whatnot. Because especially in the startup world out there, it's like, sure, everyone moving to Silicon Valley, it's generally the idea is that it's the best and the brightest, the kids that go to the best universities and whatnot. So everyone is smart enough or has the technical chops. So these decisions kind of come down to, is he or she a good culture fit? And if you're using that as your defining factor, if the culture of your company isn't diverse, then you're not going to hire diverse candidates. Like
Mhm.
everybody's going to fit the demographic of the company at hand.
So the company itself, say for instance, we'll say a Series B startup, they've been hiring nothing but white people. That is their culture as a company, and it sucks. So it's like, so one thing I like about the startup I'm at right now, I think in the very beginning, it was funny, we used to make jokes because we used to say like, yo, we got nothing but Asian developers. But that was the first time I've ever had like more than 5 to 6 Asian developers on a team. Not just from China. They have backgrounds from South Korea, Philippines. I'm blanking on my boy Fawn's place.
India's in China too.
That too.
Sorry, Asia.
I mean, Russia's Asia too.
Yeah, well, Russians are Asians, aren't they?
Technically, yeah. Yeah, 60% of them. I think
Yeah.
40% in Europe. But yeah, it's funny that you brought that up too as well, because like it could be opposite where you know culture fit. Have you ever been like the diversity hire? Like has any both of you guys? If you guys
Not that I know of.
Okay.
I might have been.
where you just the team that you're working on, just a sea of different demographic, the same demographic, and you're the only one. Have you guys? I've been in that case, that scenario.
I've been used to being the only Latino on teams.
Oh.
I would say there's
Yeah.
probably, at least in my experience, Latinos have been the most underrepresented in technology, I would say.
Yeah.
Shout out to Latinos in tech. Really.
Oh yeah,
That's a
there's
That's real
the
thing,
group
yeah.
in Atlanta. It's called Latinos in Tech,
oh,
and it's lit.
It's lit.
wow.
Yeah.
I need to look that up.
And it's like their sticker and everything. So,
And another group is called Tech Latino.
And then there's Techeria,
Mm-hmm.
like Taqueria.
Wow.
Decoration's probably pretty cool.
Let's hit it up on these weekends.
We got to.
I'm down.
But yeah, I mean, there's times where, like you said, hiring diversity candidates. So I've been a diversity hire where I've been the only black guy on a team full of like white guys, and it's hard for me to relate to like their backgrounds. So it's like I'm kind of cast off to myself, whereas they're together doing their own things.
I mean, I would say probably. I mean, the company where we all worked at. That's when we became friends. Like
Really?
day one, I was like, "You got Jordans on. You dress well." We were the 3 swaggies.
Yeah, when I first
on
got
that
there,
team.
Oscar was behind. I was like, yo, who the fuck talking shit? And I looked back, I was like, oh, this guy ain't okay. Who's this guy?
Yeah, right. I mean, you're right though. Everybody else on that team, they kind of fit the same demographic, whereas we were kind of the outliers in that sense.
Yeah, and I mean, as a minority, I think we all have a responsibility to be disruptors to a certain degree. I mean, you guys know me because I'm me. Company outside, you're gonna get unfiltered Oscar
Oh, yeah.
all the time. That gets me in trouble sometimes, but for the most part, people trust me because of it, and people are aware of the issues I have when it comes to culture and how I feel. And I think it's very important because if you don't disrupt, and if you're just the silent minority that sticks to himself, you're not going to make a difference.
Exactly.
You need to let other people know that you're uncomfortable. You need to let other people know that there needs to be some change made. And you need to be yourself. Flat out, you need to be yourself. Don't like whitewash yourself. Don't code switch.
Hey.
Be you.
Same.
Shoot, sometimes at work, I'll talk Spanish. I'll talk Spanglish, and then I'll teach some of my coworkers Spanish words.
Yeah.
But it's all about being authentic. Be yourself.
Yeah.
You know.
Because oftentimes, even like, I would say play devil's advocate, but like the benefit of the doubt is a lot of times these companies, they just don't realize that they're not being inclusive because they're being themselves and everyone around them is being themselves, and they don't realize that other people are uncomfortable until you say something, you know?
Yeah, well, there's the pressure to hire, and then there's the pressure to get talent quickly. Way easier than actually trying to go to these smaller communities and make a difference and find the one good black engineer, or, you know, it's hard. It's harder than just, you know, picking the first person off the top and not taking any other things into account.
Like in a vacuum, it's just easier. Like, oh, you went to this best school, you worked at these best companies, I'm going to hire you.
Yep. But like what I've seen and what you see from some of the top companies now, like Google, Microsoft, their hiring process has changed over the past like 5 years recently, and it's a really recent slight change that you notice. Before, they were just picking all the top engineers from the top schools.
Yeah.
MIT, Stanford, Tech. They were just that was their hiring process. Now it's a lot more diverse, and not just diverse from like a culture standpoint, but diverse from also a skill level. And they're doing that purposefully because I don't know if you guys have ever worked on a team with a bunch of smart people. Not necessarily going to be more productive than another team with one defined leader and defined junior engineers. Not necessarily going to be more productive. However, you can see this from like when Apple created the first Mac. If you get like all these A+, they call them A+ team members. Yeah. So an A+ doesn't mean you're the best, but you're really damn good at what you do. You know your position on the team. You're a team player, and you're gonna get it done. Yeah. If you get those A+ team members together on one team, it could be like 5 of them. They'll accomplish more than like 5 other teams.
Oh yeah.
And there's a really famous Steve Jobs quote about that actually. Yeah. It's like because like a whole bunch of A+ team members will run circles around like a whole bunch of C+, B+ players.
Being like a role player on a basketball team.
Yeah. If you got a well-rounded team, if you got 3 or 4 superstars, if they're not a well-rounded team, you got 3 guards.
Egos get around each other too. You have that whole dynamic when you have like superstar players. So not A+ in the sense of the smartest people in the room, but the best teammates in the room.
And like, you can't hire so many architects and then have them, just writing like functional tests or something like that. Like, he's not going to be happy, and it's just going to be a bad situation in general. Yeah. But yeah, that whole hiring situation, it has changed a lot throughout the whole tech ecosystem. It's just the tech companies are definitely outliers to the majority. Yeah. So
that's true.
Their practices are typically a decade and a half and probably increasing ahead of everyone else.
I mean, like the major announcement from Google, like I think 2 years ago when they said they're not requiring college degrees anymore. And thus the rise of boot camps. Like you were a boot camp grad, right?
Yeah. So, I mean, I work at Amazon now and I'm not a college degree. And not my direct manager, but a manager on the same level as my manager that manages another team. He was a high school dropout. And, he's like a L7 or whatever at Amazon,
I've worked with high school dropouts since like a couple of them.
Yeah, I got a buddy who, we had our startup on the West Coast together. He dropped out of high school because he realized he graduated in 11th grade and not have to do 12th grade. Just do the GED and then just chill. That's what he did. So now he's still on the West Coast, still making bread out there. So yeah, he worked his way up. He just learned how to write code in terms of like app development, and he moved over to JavaScript, and I don't know, and he just took off from there. So
yeah, kind of like you said, how tech is kind of leading the charge on not just diversity, but just in general, like working from home and all these different things. They're the disruptors, and as minority technologists, we need to disrupt the tech companies to make sure that they're including us in the future, because technology is building the future, quite literally. And if we're not a part of the conversation, we might get left out.
Every company is going to be a tech company.
Oh, 100%.
We can honestly make the argument already that every company is already a tech company if they want to be or not.
Yes, 100%. Like, you're a tech company and you're a media company. Like, those two things are part of every single company.
I'm really trying to think of some, like, companies that won't rely on tech. I can't think of any. I was going to think of miners, but
it's pretty great. I've had some clients for like my own business that have had the same website, same platform that they've used for like 30 years. And they've finally gotten to the point where they're like, all right, our clients are complaining about not being able to like fill out their invoices online.
They're using ASPS.
They're using all kinds of, I had one client that made their clients drive to their office with the check. And I was like, bro. And this is like,
why would you make it hard for somebody to pay you?
Yeah.
You pull up on me and bring that check with
not going to call out the business, but this is a multi-million-dollar business.
What?
Yeah. It is a multi-million-dollar business, and they're very successful because they're really good. They're really good at what they do, but they were lacking in technology, and they were starting to lose clients.
All right. I got. So they're consistently making money, and these people are still pulling up on them, bringing them checks. Do they have muscle with them? Like, this company back with mafia? Like, what's going on here?
No, but yeah, they're a high-end company, actually, in what they do.
Okay. That's pretty.
Yeah,
But-
I mean, there's a lot of, us being technologists, we kind of assume that every company has, maybe not the latest and greatest, but some type of way of, doing stuff online. But
Yeah.
a lot of the stuff is kind of left behind. Like my first startup I worked at was a trucking company, and literally we just made our margin like a 10% margin by just putting truck postings online. And just talking to you good?
Oh, not the non-sponsored water over this.
Non-sponsored one.
Yeah.
We need a water sponsor, by the way. Evan, hit us up. Yeah, we were in the trucking space, and like quite literally, truck drivers would call these brokerages on the phone and fax papers back and forth. It would take weeks to get a trucking load. We just set up an online platform where they click on something, get a truckload, get all the documentation they needed, and that would be done in 24 hours. And we would pay them 24 hours after they delivered, when often truck drivers would wait months to get paid after doing the job. And so they would happily give us like 10% on top just because they could get their money on time.
You actually wouldn't believe how that company's website was set up. It was I've been in some really funky software before, but this was the first for me.
Oh shit.
It was the entire website was images. Entire website. Buttons, everything was an image.
Wow.
It was set up like a puzzle with images.
I've seen that before.
There was no like proper HTML in there.
No, it was just an image and they sliced the images up.
Yes,
I've seen that before. Yeah.
I had never seen that before. And I was
I'm an old head, so but I've definitely seen that
I
before.
was like,
I've never seen that shit.
So like a graphic designer would make a picture of the website and then go in and cut out the buttons as separate images.
So I'm looking at the giant JPEG.
Multiple JPEGs that makes
Okay.
So like literally like the images would be
I was
like
like, wow.
I need
8 reps.
this.
I kept opening up and I was like, wow.
I need this website. I need this website name after this.
I rebuilt it, bro.
Oh, okay. All right,
Shout out to Jason.
All right. So
Tables and images.
we talking about your. That was one of our bullet points. Tell us about Valdes Ventures.
So Valdes Ventures, we do consulting for our clients. We do in-house building for web apps, mobile apps, microservices if you need them for our clients. And then we do in-house products that we're currently building for some investors.
Okay. So like more like proof of concepts that they're using.
Some of them are MVPs, some of them are POCs, but some of the times they need an in-house build. They need us to build something with WebSockets or something.
Okay.
We'll come in, build it. It's really just me and a whole bunch of my friends that whenever a company hits me up with a need, I'm here to help.
All right, that's pretty cool. All right, so tell me about your life working at.
Man, I was a teenager? I was like 16.
You're still not a teenager?
Huh?
You're not a teenager with that baby face still?
You shaved before this?
This one I'm trying to think if I'm allowed to talk about this one.
Wait, your beard?
No.
Okay.
We might have to blur that one out.
Okay.
Because that one was pre 16 years old Oscar coding illegal hire.
Illegal hire. Okay. All right.
I was like, we could talk about it off the record.
Yeah, because you've been an intern for like, I don't know, like 6 years.
I was a professional.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw your LinkedIn. You were intern 1 and 2 at Home Depot.
No, there was I even took off my own time because I was like, you know what? I have all this stock that they
I saw that last night.
It's not on there.
I saw that last night. Oh, it's on your Facebook. I'm sorry. Damn.
It's on I didn't even know it was on Facebook. I need to remove it off
I
of
know.
that.
I need to take
But
stuff off my Facebook.
So I was like 14 or 15 when they hired me, and it was like 5 engineers, and basically I was working under the table, and then they gave me like a nice little severance, and it just sitting there.
So you're 14, 15 years old. You're like, bet I got some money.
And I'm just sitting there until they get acquired.
Yeah, all tax free.
But we could blur that out.
The company name.
All right, so because you were an intern for like 6 years, so your 2 years at Home Depot, how was that? That transitioned to like an actual actual software engineering job, right?
Yeah, so when I started interning at Home Depot, that was like my first corporate gig, and I was really hesitant at first to take it, like when they were interviewing me, and I expressed that I came from like startup culture, and they were like, oh no, like they were like, we're trying to be agile, blah blah blah, and I was like, after talking to my parents, I was like, might as well try it as an intern, see what the corporate life is like. And I have to give a shout out. Home Depot did flip the switch, like completely from like a waterfall approach to an agile approach. But it was also a learning experience for me because it also was like there needs to be like a happy medium in there. Because the whole pair programming thing was just for me was like a total killer.
Yeah.
For reference, for the listeners, all of engineering at Home Depot is strictly pair programming, to the point where you're both on one computer with 2 keyboards, 2 sets of mice, and literally you're just on the same machine.
Yeah, from what I've heard, it's loosened up a good bit. So it's better than how strict it was before. But it's all about the transformation pattern that they followed. So we have to take into context where they were before and where they are now. They accomplished a lot. So I think when your company is so waterfall, you have to have a really aggressive transformation to actually have any sort of meaningful change. If you
swing all the way the opposite direction,
you got to swing
and then find the happy medium.
We didn't come here to lay up,
Dunk on the ass.
Because really, if you look at if any large projects or a large company, if you try to just do A, B, C, there's gonna be D, E, F, G, H that have grown on top of what you were just looking at.
Yeah.
So you really have to just take the root from underneath it. I understand what they did. But yeah, I'm not a pair programming fan.
No, I wasn't.
I enjoy pair programming for a limited time.
Yeah.
Not mandatory and not all day.
What about with a certain person? So like me and Mehul, when we pair program, it was basically, I'll write code for a little bit. He'll look on Twitter and keep me up to date what's going on. There was a switch.
What I will say about pair programming is I did learn a lot pair programming because I learned about shortcuts that people use in their day to day. Little things like that I still use, that I kept with me, that I didn't know that other people did, or tools that other people use. One of them is Oh My Zish. That's my favorite. That's still my favorite shell that I use.
think Brian showed us that.
Yeah, I've been using Jiggler ever since we left Home Depot.
Yeah, so lots of cool things like that you wouldn't pick up another way.
Okay.
But I do enjoy pairing with junior devs in that way because I teach them what I already know, and then they always teach me what's the new hot thing.
That's true.
That I just am not aware of, and then I enjoy obviously more senior people because it's vice versa.
Shout out to Rick, your boy Rick.
Shout out to my boy Rick. I have a whole bunch of old dogs with me. I got Rick. I got Josh.
All right. So as a Cuban American, where's a good spot I can get a good Cuban sandwich? I know where my favorite place is, but where's yours? Come to your house.
Got the mofongo on deck. It's ready.
Yo.
Damn. The mofongo.
I was going to plug in Crazy Cuban, but never mind.
No, bro, we can have a cookout. I'll have grandma mom over. We'll have arroz, frijoles negros, tamales, vitán panizado. We can roast a pig.
Okay. Bro. Roasted. Okay, so I've seen that shit in Wyoming one time where they roasted an actual pig.
Bro, we bring a live pig to our house.
That's what you do.
To our house.
Yeah.
We go to the back and
you dig the hole?
We dig the hole.
Yeah.
We dig the hole. And if there's like a 12, 13-year-old kid, it's usually traditional, let him kill the pig.
Yo, when's the next time you're doing this? I want to.
We do it around holiday season, so it's coming up. So
coming up on
Halloween?
Like November, probably.
Okay.
Yeah, it's literally we dig the hole, put cinder blocks. In
Yeah.
Yep, just like that.
Oh, I'm trying to.
Nothing fancy.
Yeah. All right. What's your favorite tequila?
Oh, man. So college, it was Patron.
Okay.
Recently, I've been on a 1942 like phase, but I went to. Have you guys been to Botanico?
Mm.
They got that the mezcal, bro, and I might switch over to the mezcal.
You know what this?
Bro, I don't even drink mezcal. I don't even drink like just regular like it's either añejo or mezcal. Mezcal, like I just got this one. The thing is so smoky.
Yeah.
It's like the best scotch.
Yeah.
It's like scotch and tequila had a baby. That's what mezcal is.
Okay.
Bro, they make some craft. So go to Botanica. Actually, what do we do after this? We could go.
I got a meeting for work at 3, but 15 minutes outside of that, we can go. And I want those sandwiches at your house.
There's that spot I used to go to probably before COVID era, Bone Garden. They have a huge tequila selection there. They claim they have the biggest one in the South.
Yeah.
So that might be the spot to hit up after this.
I'm trying to get that smoky tequila you guys talking about.
What's
Whiskey and tequila had a baby?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
No, scotch.
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 Even better. Okay. All right.
That's that aged Scotch.
I might have a move after this.
Get that Macallan.
All right. So let's go over to this last segment. This is my favorite segment now. It's the second time. It's our game show. It's called.
Make sure you don't see no answers.
Yeah, yeah. Our segment. I hope you lose. And here, no one has ever passed the test. If you win, what are we giving this man today?
We're paying his bar tab.
We'll pay you a bar tab today.
His bar tab's
Hey.
wild though.
Yeah.
Hey, and Mehul will throw an iPad. All you have to do is answer 9 questions. That's it. They're not too hard, it's just more of like,
So I gotta pass it. Like,
yeah.
No, you gotta get all you gotta get all right.
What's the?
Our last, Pierre made it to 4, right?
Yeah, he made it to 4.
Okay.
I was gonna say, what's the curve?
Oh no, it starts slow. Like, all right, the very first one. What's the capital of Cuba? See, it wasn't that hard. We want you to win, man. We want you to have a good time.
No, we don't. We want you to lose.
Name 2 major repository services out there that developer use.
GitLab, GitHub.
There you go. See, we're doing this easy for you. All right, what's the second largest city in Cuba?
Pinar del Rio.
Nope. Santiago.
Mm.
Ooh.
We did it, boys.
Is Pinar del Rio like 3?
There's like
Made
3
it
cities
3.
in Cuba, right?
Hey, my next one was gonna say, ¿Cómo se dice greatness in español, por favor?
Greatness.
Yes.
I don't even know how that translates.
Oh,
Great. Yeah, you would have killed me already.
All right,
How do you say
come on.
greatness?
Did it.
I don't know how to say it in Spanish. I know what como se dice en inglés, because I'm light skinned. I used to spend my summers in Miami, so everybody thought I was Cuban
My
already.
services in
So they always spoke Spanish to me, and I was like, oh, como se dice en inglés? So that was it. Dang, I had some good questions on here.
Oh, we covered the
All
questions.
right, fuck
anyway.
it. All right, you lost, so you don't have to give your shit.
I'll
So,
keep failing.
all right, which rapper was actually born in Atlanta out of the 4 I'm gonna give you? So Gucci, Kanye West, Ludacris, Jeezy.
Jeezy.
Nope.
Is it Luda?
Nope.
Who were the other 2?
It was
Gucci
Gucci,
Mane,
but really Kanye West.
Kanye.
He always reps Chicago, doesn't he?
Yeah, Ludacris was born in Chicago.
He moved there when he was like a kid.
So that was an early quality trait right there.
Another question we had was which tennis star? So Serena, which tournament did she win while she was pregnant?
No
The
idea.
Australian Open.
No.
Yeah.
The rest of them I put extremely hard ones just in case you.
Just in case.
What was the first capital of Georgia?
Savannah?
Nope.
Before that?
Yeah.
Macon?
Back in 1904.
Macon.
Louisville.
Louisville.
Louisville, Georgia.
Louisville, Georgia.
Yeah.
What's the capital?
And I was gonna say like what 2 states don't care about daylight savings time.
What 2 countries?
2 states.
2 states.
Like
You
don't-
might know this as a programmer. I feel like programmers do once they deal with this, they never forget it.
We had to do with that. We had to do with this at Home Depot actually.
Or did Moment.js thing take care of it?
It actually did.
I know
No,
they didn't want to use Moment. They didn't want to use Moment. And it was funny because during my interview at Home Depot, I was like, "Yeah, I helped write. Like, I have like 30 something contributions to Moment." They're like, "Oh wow, we love Moment." And then I get on OC1, and they're like, "Yeah, we don't."
Wait,
we
they
don't use Moment."
didn't use Moment at Home Depot? I don't-
They didn't want us to because they said it was too heavy. They
I
wanted us to
used it.
Oh yeah, because I remember I was talking to Brian. I was like, "Yeah, we could just use Moment." He's like, "Yeah, but they want us to like cut down the bundle size, and Moment has a lot of stuff we don't need." And I'm like, "Cool, I'm just gonna copy and paste the code that I need from Moment because who wants to do math?"
True.
There's another library now that a lot of people use though. That's ES modularized.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, people use for time. People care about bundle size.
I'm sure Moment's probably modularized by now. If not, I mean, I don't know.
I don't think it is.
Yeah.
I don't think it is.
That might be something that some junior devs want to do to up their clout, their GitHub clout, get them green dots.
No.
All right.
I appreciate you coming by today, man.
Oh, man, anytime.
So we're gonna get those Cuban sandwiches tonight and that tequila too now.
Hey, we can host a podcast at the barbecue.
Oh. We gotta talk to Brian about these mobile episodes, man.
This is the second one.
We-
Second mobile podcast.
The last episode, we had a guy who runs a ramen and taco shop, and he's like, "Yeah, we'll do a collab. We'll do like a collab drop, and you guys pop up."
Oof, love trucks. Love food trucks.
Taco ramen spot too.
That's different.
Yeah, not different. We'll talk, Brian, about that later. But yeah. Hey, appreciate you coming by like always, man.
Where can the good people find you online?
You can either hit me up on LinkedIn or ValdesVentures.com.
Hit him up.
ValdesVentures.com it is. All right, I will give it to you because I want to see what that JPEG website used to look like. Do you still?
I don't have that.
It's gone.
It's gone.
Damn. All right, never mind. All right.
I'm sure you'll find an example somewhere. They definitely exist.
Somewhere. All right. Well, a luxurious guest. I appreciate you coming out today. So welcome, Oscar, my boy right here.
I'm Mabel, as always. You can find me at MabelATL on everything: Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn.
Rick, but use my real name when it comes to like business. So, Red, you can just find me Redrick Young. Oh, and finish the website. Oh, Redrick Young on Twitter, or Redrick Young LinkedIn. Don't matter. Just type it in, you'll find it. So.
And we're the Peachtree Devs. Like and subscribe on our YouTubes. Comment any questions. Hit us up on Twitter. We got you.
We got you. All right.